My name is Wardah Khan. I secured All India rank 18th in Civil Services Examination 2023. I am originally from Allahabad. I completed my graduation from Delhi University and this was my second attempt at the exam. The decision was taken while I was in my corporate job right after my graduation. So I did not really enjoy the corporate setup, and besides this, the extracurricular activities that I pursued during my college years and my general interest in geopolitics and subjects like history. So I found an alignment of that interest with the syllabus of civil services, and besides this, the kind of contribution that we are able to make to the society through this position and a sense of purpose that it provides to an individual is what motivated me to go for this. Typically, my day used to start with reading the newspaper. I followed The Hindu during my preparation and I used to underline the important stuff there, then and there itself. So simultaneously, I used to study two subjects, one in the morning shift and one in the evening. Besides this, in the afternoon, right after my lunch, I used to practice CSAT because I had faced failure in my first attempt due to this. And at night, I used to usually read the current affairs magazine or revise the backlog. So my preparation was basically a culmination of different things, the guidance provided by the coaching in terms of the foundation course and even my notes that were the skeletal framework of my mains preparation. These were formed mainly from coaching materials. Besides this, I also used to watch certain videos of Unacademy that were freely available on YouTube, like Sudarshan Gurjar sir's marathon for the geography mapping. Besides this, so I mainly referred the coaching material for source purposes, but self-study is of course the way to go about it. So I followed the static sources that everybody goes for. For polity, it was Lakshmikant, mainly for the prelims, but during mains preparation, I had supplemented it with the coaching material, value-added material and Atish Mathur sir's notes. Besides this, for history, for the ancient and medieval, I referred the NCERT, the old NCERT. For modern, I referred the Spectrum. And for environment, for the static part, the Shankar environment book, and for current affairs, newspaper. And for economy, I referred the Vivek Singh sir. So I think the biggest obstacle that every aspirant faces is the isolation that we have to go into. We are secluded in one place studying for an exam, which is so uncertain. So that was one of the challenges because I generally feel that I'm a very social person. I like to interact with people and go out more, but I had to sacrifice on that, and also on the social media footprint I had to sacrifice in order to keep up with the preparation. When I failed my first prelims, although it was a major downfall that I had to face, but it also sort of motivated me to pick myself up and brace up better for the next attempt. And now when I look back, I am thankful because my mains preparation wasn't up to the mark in my first attempt. So of course, like every other aspirant, I also had to face moments when I used to think that maybe I'm not cut out for this, or the people who are able to clear have something else in them. But one thing that I used to usually do was watch topper videos, either their mock interviews or other interviews, and I found a lot of relatable things, that they also had to go through phases of anxiety or self-doubt, and they are people like us. They also used to get bored after a certain point, but I used to pick their experiences and try to relate with that. Thankfully, I haven't faced any kind of obstacle from my family or even my friends. Both the sections have been very supportive of my decision, and in fact, more than myself, they always have had that belief that I would be able to make it. So a large credit of this success goes to their belief in me. because this journey is quite long and it can seem daunting at times, so little gifts or presents that we sort of give to ourselves can act as motivators. For instance, I used to give myself a goal that if I'm able to study this much in a certain time period, then I would go for an outing, or I would go to a friend's place, or I would maybe for a week switch on my social media handles. So these tiny gifts that you give to yourself can motivate you and may not make the journey quite boring. I think revision can get very daunting, especially during mains preparation, because in all the 4 GS papers there are a lot of subjects to cover, so it can seem too much at that time. So one effective revision strategy is first of all, you should be having notes on all the syllabus heads, but then you should also be breaking down those notes in shorter forms. So I used to disaggregate my notes, like for economy I used to pen down all my data in 2 to 3 pages. For polity, all the important judgments and the committee recommendations in 2 to 3 pages, so that the value added stuff I'm able to revise in a short span of time. So I think for both prelims and mains, they have a huge role to play. As regards prelims, mocks, I think they sort of acclimatize us with the kind of paper that we will be facing, especially if we are giving it in a simulated environment. So it's very important. What I used to do is that usually I attempted the mock at the time when the actual paper would take place, like in the morning shift, and the CSAT one in the afternoon shift. So that kind of simulation helps you better, and the mistakes that we make in the mock, it is very important to analyze these mistakes, especially if you are making it in the static part. As regards the mains preparation, it sort of serves as a benchmark that whenever we are writing answers, it helps us to understand where we forgot the part that came from our notes. So we are able to compare that how much we retained and how much we were able to produce on paper. Although the sources are largely the same and the preparation is integrated, but I think a different approach and a mindset is required with respect to every stage. For instance, while we are studying for prelims, it is more of a fact-based preparation where we are required to keep the facts in mind and also have conceptual clarity on terminologies and current affairs. As regards the mains, I think what we need is hitting the demand of the question first, understanding the question, memorizing the syllabus for that, I think is the sine qua non. And for the interview preparation, interview largely judges our personality and our opinions on the issues around us rather than the knowledge, because that has been tested in the prior stages. So for interview, referring to more magazines and newspaper to have an informed opinion is the way to go. So I think first of all, an effective sleep is very necessary. What we sometimes think is if we are able to stretch our study hours, we will be able to cover most of the syllabus, but a fresh mind is very necessary. Besides this, as I earlier said, that disaggregating our notes into smaller parts also helps a lot, because prior to mains it becomes very difficult to revise, especially when papers happen consecutively. So that is necessary for time management, and answer writing practice is the third thing that I would recommend, so that our hand and mind are in sync. There is a popular misconception that UPSC asks anything under the sun, which is not true, of course. We have a defined syllabus, especially for mains. And earlier also all the rank holders have suggested that you need to have you need to have notes that are prepared according to the syllabus heads. So first of all, you need to memorize the syllabus and then prepare your notes and add current affairs according to those syllabus heads. So that will help us in keeping with the syllabus and not going astray. As regards my optional sociology, I think there is no dearth of resources and guidance available in the market. But one important thing is how far we are able to understand the subject, especially if we don't have any experience. Like I did not have a prior experience in sociology. So what I initially did was I referred the Nitin Sangwan book to smoothen out my base. Then I realized that basic book will only fetch us basic marks. So you need to value add. So for that purpose, I referred Neha Bhosle ma'am. I think she is a rank holder of 2018. So I used her notes to add value to my notes. I prepared my own notes of optional papers in soft copy, and then I got it printed and revised it multiple times. I do not particularly have any memorable experience, but I would just say that out of all the 3 stages, the interview stage was definitely the most enjoyable stage. I remember that we are a group of 5 people. I have 4 other friends, and we used to have a lot of discussions regarding the interview and other things also to break the monotony. So that sort of relieved the pressure to a large extent. So I think one motto that I live by, and I would suggest to future aspirants also, is a self-belief. A lot of times we think that toppers are cut out differently, or they are some superhumans having extraordinary qualities, but they are people just like us. And secondly, motivation. I think we should just stop striving to get that motivation and that josh on everyday basis, because that's not feasible. What we need is discipline and consistency. So if you are able to manage even few hours but on a daily basis, that will do the job. One thing I would say is that stay true to yourself in this journey. A lot of times we sort of are dishonest to ourselves. We think that maybe we have completed a topic, or after having done a subject we get so overconfident, or high marks in a particular mock that sort of our egos go off the roof. So try to keep yourself grounded and treat them as small successes. But at the same time, don't forget why you started. So that is something I would suggest.